Hey guys, what's happening? Back with another stream. Bambino here, and we are back in VR. Sorry, X-Plane 11.20 preview beta VR. Easy for me to say. Thanks for joining the stream, guys. I appreciate it. We're going to be checking out some FSEconomy and flying around in Hawaii and a little bit in New York a little bit later. Going to do 2 flights tonight. It's the plan. Bunch of stuff going on in the world of VR today with CES happening. HTC Vive made a big announcement today. Talk a little bit about that later. But appreciate you guys joining here, and we're going to get right to it. Before we do, though, just want to let you guys know about the Virtual Reality Aviators Group on Facebook. You can check it out by just typing up VR Aviator Group and check that out. And there's a lot of great people. Actually, we passed 700 members today, 706 members. And some great people in there helping each other out with VR, beginners to advanced people, people that know their stuff, people that are learning their stuff. So it's a good mixture of some great folks willing to help each other out. So make sure you check that out on Facebook and just hit the join button, and you just have to answer 3 simple questions just to make sure you're not a robot or a troll, and we'll get you right in there talking to people. So anyway, check that out, VR Aviators Group. All right, so let's see, what do we have planned for tonight? So we're going to do, first let's do, I want to talk about FSEconomy and the VR Aviators Group. Well, yeah, so let's talk about that first. So the VR Aviators Group, let me pull that up here. Where the hell is it? So yeah, we've got a couple of new members. I'm going to accept them right now. B Mayor. Not sure why that's, there you go. There's an accepting, and we'll accept ICOZ. I think we got like 13, or including me, like 13 members now in one day. Pretty good. So we're just getting this started here, and funded it with like 15K just to get things started, and put a few assignments up. So you can go on there, and we're going to kind of base things out of LaGuardia for now, because we don't have any FBOs or anything like that. But if you want to pick up a flight in LaGuardia or anywhere, you can really fly anywhere. All you have to do is, when you're in my flight, there's well, I'll show you how to do it later. There's a little thing to say fly for VR Aviation, and then you'll be able to fly for us. So right now we've got, I've been doing a lot of flying. So we've got about 42,000 in cash right now. The idea is to build this up so that we can get some planes, either purchasing them or leasing them, and then maybe some FBOs and etc., stuff like that. The other thing I'm going to do is, I've got a contest. We're going to have a contest for the month of January. The member who earns the most money, will get a bonus. So the way it's going to work is, I'll add up basically all the assignment money that you generate for the group, and then whatever the total is that we do for January after expenses, right? So let me show you. So if you look at banking, all right, and you go to monthly here, okay, you can see right here, so far we've got 108,679 in assignment income, and after you subtract out all the expenses, our net is 24,000. So the way we're going to work it is, the person with the highest, the most amount of assignment revenue, gross revenue, will get 20% of whatever this number is here, this net number. So if this thing is 100,000, you'll get 20 grand. If this thing is $1 million, you get 200,000. Whatever it is, you'll get 20% of whatever this number is. So be one winner, and so fly your ass off, and you might have a chance to make a little bit of money. So I just thought that'd be kind of cool to do to start things off. And yeah, so hopefully we'll get this group going. And the whole idea is just to sort of like play the game together, and maybe build a little bit of a empire, an FSEconomy, to make it more fun. If we get a couple of planes, it'll cut down on the expenses. We'll figure out which planes to get. Right now, I've got a B1900D at LaGuardia that you can rent whenever it's there. There's a couple of people that rent it all the time. But I picked LaGuardia because LaGuardia just has so many jobs, so many assignments, and they're reasonably, they range from shorter assignments to to much longer assignments. You can just see tons and tons and tons, and most of them have returns, so you could do round trips if you have. See that? I mean, there's like a bunch of assignments there. Okay, and also speaking of LaGuardia, you can see here this Cirrus SR200 right there. Well, I bought that today. There was a bank sale, $215,000. I bought it for. It was in Indiana, and I couldn't pass it up. I wanted to have one on the East Coast, so I actually flew it back from Indiana to LaGuardia today, this afternoon, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to be flying that tonight, and after tonight, I'm going to put it up. I'm going to rent it out. So if you want to fly this plane at LaGuardia, please check it out. It's a 328 BG, and the nice thing about this plane is you can get it up to close to 160 knots, so you can get there pretty quick with it, and it's a lot of fun to fly. It's probably my favorite GA plane. So anyway, so I've added that to the aircraft list. Now I have two of them: this one in Hawaii and the one in the East Coast. So in any event, so that's what's happening in the world of FSEconomy. What I have planned for tonight, the first flight is Hawaii. I've got my SR200 is here on Oahu, and I want to get it back to Honolulu. So, sorry, not Oahu, the Big Island, whatever this Big Island's called. We're going to get it back to Oahu at Honolulu. So I'm going to pick out a couple of jobs here, and we're going to put this flight in and get things going. So let me get to FSEconomy. I can only sit 3. So I want to probably take the bikini model. We'll take this guy. We'll take all. It's better to take the singles, because you can see here these two of these singles will pay almost what, 17,000. But if you get the double, it only pays 14. So I always try to take the singles, right? So we're going to add those to the list, okay? And then we'll go down here. We'll rent the plane. Now, I don't have to pay for it because I own it, okay? So now if we go to my flight, okay, we're going to 142 nautical miles. It's actually going to be a little longer than that because we're taking some twists and turns. So it's 152. We'll just call it 160 or 170 to be safe. We'll go at 175 to be safe. We're going to need 12 gallons. So we should have enough gas, but you know what? I've got room, so I'm just going to put some gas in anyway. We'll go to 30. We'll go to 40 gallons. All right. So, ooh, just cutting it close. We're gonna be kind of heavy taking off here. A heavy SR200. All right. So that's gonna be now. What we want to do here is if you're flying for the group, if you're in the VR Aviators group, you see right here where it says "Fly for VR Aviation," and I'm also a member of SnackAir, which is John Fly's group. But if you just hit "Fly for VR Aviation," now you'll see it change. This flight is being flown for VR Aviation. It's pretty simple. All right, so that's how you do that. So we're going to be flying this route here. I'm going to take us through the island so we can get a little look at that. And I flew this Hawaii trip a couple days ago, so we're just basically heading back there. Hey, John Fly, how you doing? Yeah, bikinis, of course, bikinis. And John Fly's in the house. And Donovan, how you doing? Should always have 1 hour in reserve. Yeah, well, I figure I always make sure we have enough petro. So yeah, so I kind of well, I didn't steal his idea, but I decided to set up my own group here, and I am flying for John Fly's group here, SnackAir. Show you that. Where is that? Where's SnackAir? SnackAir's right there. That's John Fly's group because he's got a bunch of assignments. He's got a ton of people in his group. But he's paying about the same as us, about 40%, which is probably a good rate. And the reason why it's only 40% is because when you look at the way things break down, let me just show you one of these logs here. Oh, John Fly is hosting us. That's awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. That says a lot. I appreciate it. Let's check this out here. So if you take a look at, did I fly this? Yeah, let's take a look at this guy here. So if you take a look at this, is this a good example? Yeah. You could see like they take a chunk out, right? So I wanted to originally pay a lot more. Like I wanted to pay like 60% out. But when you look at the fees and costs and stuff, you really can't. And I'm kind of learning as I'm going here. You really can't pay more than 40%. Otherwise, the group won't make any money. And the whole idea is we're trying to build up cash for the group so that I can buy my C90 back from John Fly. I'm just kidding. But I want to buy another C90 for the group. But yeah, or we can decide on which plane's the group. But we want to, we need to accumulate cash. And the only way to do that is if some of the money goes into the coffer. So I think 40% is where we're going to have to be for now. And, but we should be good to go there. So in any event, so we're all gassed up and ready to go here. And let's see, what else? So let me enter now I'm back with the upper left-hand corner. I've got ForeFlight in the corner there. So we're back with that. I figured out a way to optimize things on my PC so I can get that going again. So let me just enter this flight plan. So we're going. I wish I had a way to do this automatically, just to transfer it over to the iPad from SkyVector, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. At some point I will. Let's see, we're going PHKO.
Flight 209er, clear for vector 324.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, roger. What's our vector,
vFlyteAir. Thanks for the follow. That's a great name, vFlyteAir. Awesome. That's a great name. I guess you fly with Oculus Rift. That's pretty cool. A lot of people are doing that nowadays. Oh, that's not good. Why'd that guy come up red? That's a problem. All right, so let's check this out here. That was this guy here, right? No, this guy here. So let's just change this. So go to brush. Actually, you know what? We don't even need that waypoint. Should be okay. Go to Rashi. We're gonna go way out there. I'm not sure if I want to go way out there. It's kind of. Let's see, how high are we? 1300 here. Yeah, we'll just. You know what? We'll just get rid of that. We'll just fly it high enough so we don't have to worry too much about it. Hey, Fergus. How you doing, Fergus? Fergus is our resident expert on the in the VR Aviators group. Well, I should say one of the resident experts. There's a lot of experts in that group, man. You want to learn about flying VR. You want to learn about VR. Join the VR Aviators group. There's a lot of people with a lot of knowledge there for sure. All right, so we're just going to go chain, and then we're going to go MABBL. And then we're going to go to home port, PHNL. All right, there's our route.
Flight 209er, clear for vector 324.
John Fly
We
is
have
now
clearance,
following.
Clarence.
Thank
Roger,
you, John
roger.
Fly.
What's
I
our vector,
appreciate
Victor?
that. Thank you. He hosted and he followed. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. In any event, so that's all set to go. Now we can get to the good stuff. Get this crap out of the way and look at the SR20. There it is. A lot of people ask me, how do you get that large image with the Rift? So I'm using the Oculus Mirror tool, which is in your Oculus folder if you have Oculus, and you can do a full 16:9 both eye view, if you will. This is what you would see in the headset. Okay, X-Plane 11. If you look at that, their view is a little different. Hopefully this will come up here. This is the X-Plane 11 mirror view, okay, and it's a single eye, all right, which is problematic for streaming, obviously. Having that Oculus mirror makes things much, much easier. So that's how we do it. All right, cool. So let's I want to close down anything that's not necessary here.
Flight 209er, clear for vector 324.
Dapper Corleone.
Roger,
Something
Roger.
to do with The
What's our vector,
Godfather?
Victor?
My favorite movie, maybe my favorite movie, actually. Dapper Corleone. Pretty cool. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. All right, so let's get in the plane. Get her started up. All right. Let's see here. And you can see I've got controls on the yoke so I can move myself back and forward in VR because it's really necessary now if you use an Oculus Touch, okay, to do that because otherwise you can't reach hard to reach places like behind your yoke and stuff, right? So what I do is I move it up like that, I move it back like this, and what I can do is let me get my mixture on, and I want to turn the battery on. Both batteries on. We can get down here now. I don't know why avionics came on, but that's okay. And I can just say clear prop. And I don't know why my... There we go. Got a good start. All right. Got a good start. And... yeah, let me get outside here. And let me close the windows and the doors and stuff. So we get our, let's see, get our pilot's door closed, get the co-pilot's door, cargo door, get the outer extension stuff all squared
Flight
away.
209er, clear for vector 324.
We have clearance, Clarence.
J-Snap,
Roger,
thanks
Roger.
for the
What's our vector,
follow.
Victor?
J-Snap 1982, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate that. Right back in the plane. Now I'm praying the frame rates are going to be okay because I got all this shit running. And I'm praying the frame rates are going to be okay. So far it looks okay as I move my head. I'm not getting too much judder, which is good. All right. All right. So let's get our all our stuff on here. So we want our alternators on, nav on, strobe, landing light. We'll leave that on. Pitot heat on. And let's see. I want to get my flight plan in here. You guys can't see this, but when I hit that button, it takes me to the X-plane screen. Let me show you.
Flight 209er, clear for vector
Taylor.
We have clearance,
Taylor.
Clarence.
I know what
Roger,
a Taylor
Roger. What's our
114E
vector,
is. That's a guitar. I have a 214E, believe it or not. I do play guitar. Yeah. So here I can just basically enter, and I have my FMS plan already set up, so I'm just going to open that plan. It's just easier right now with the SR20 to do that than to enter it into the MFD. It's just kind of a pain in the ass. My son has a 114E, actually. I have a 214E. Actually, I have a CE. No, GE or CE. Whatever the concert body one is, cutaway. Anyway, enough with guitars. I could talk about that some other time. All right, so let's see. So we're going to fly at 3,000, which we're already set at. So we're going to go CDI is on. Let's just make sure our flight plan is good to go. It is. Okay, so we're going to go nav. Sometimes, come on. I have to do it with voice command. LNAV on. LNAV on.
LNAV on.
Okay. So we're going to go vertical speed, and we'll do that. Now this you have to like grab it and move it up. Like, sorry, move it down. Yeah, move it down to go up. You have to like move. There you go, like that. So I'll just go at like 400. Okay, cool. That's cool. So now when I turn the autopilot on, I should be perfectly good to go. We'll pick up the GPS and we'll be set. All right, cool. Most important thing, or one of the most important things, is to make sure we've got FSEconomy going. Blazing Monk, how you doing? Never enter your flight plan into FMS in the SR20. Yeah, it's Are you talking about in VR or in 2D? In VR, it's very difficult. I'll kind of go over. We'll take a look at that once we're in the air. It's not really designed well for VR, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not really, and the buttons are so small. It's really hard to get the touch controller on them. But we'll take a look at that once we're in the air. I forgot what I was doing here. Oh, FSEconomy. So let me get that going. Let's see. I'm going to talk about some weird observations I've made with I've actually found that FSEconomy gives you a bit of a frame hit, which is, I know that's hard to believe, but I think it actually gives you a little bit of a frame hit. I don't know, it's weird. I mean, I think there's a lot of ghosts in 11.20 beta. I think they're still trying to get all those ghosts out, you know. But in any event, we're going to try to fly through the ghosts here. All right, so flight plan is in. Just verify that our FSEconomy is loaded en route, and it is. So we'll make a little bit of money for the group. Oh, Taylor, I'm the first to say what your name means. Hey, listen, we got a lot of time to fly. We could talk guitars. I'll tell you about my guitars. I have a 2001 Strat, American Strat with Jeff Beck pickups, this noiseless pickups. I've got the Taylor. I've got a jazz bass, Fender jazz bass. And I've also, my prime guitar is a Martin D35, 1976 Martin D35. That's my primary guitar. Anyway, where the hell's the runway? Over there, I think. All right, cool. So we're taking off in the opposite direction. Well, maybe not. So let's see. Let's get our taxi on. I won't be able to see chat while I'm cruising here. All right, it seems to be moving pretty well without judder. That's what I mean. Like right now, I mean, X-Plane is saying I'm getting 20 frames per second and it's smooth. I don't understand it. Sometimes when you get, you know, sometimes if you dip a little bit below 40, you can hardly fly, and sometimes it's just fine. It's weird. It's very weird. It's hard to really put your finger on it, but in any event, I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to fly in judder-free flight sim, hopefully. I mean, hopefully you guys can see how smooth this is when you're taxiing. It's like, I like to say, like, it's kind of like if, you know, I've never been in a commercial simulator, but I've seen, obviously, videos of people in commercial simulators, and that's how smooth it feels, because it's in 3D, and you got that smoothness, you know. I guess it's because, like, using flying side, like, I never experienced that fluidness. The same fluidness you see when someone's streaming, like, 2D X-Plane. That's what it feels like when everything's running well. God, I love this plane. This plane's awesome. I would say, hands down, of the
approaching runway 35.
Thank you. I would say of all the planes, the third-party planes that I have, this plane functions the best in VR for sure, without question. All right, runway 35. Seatbelts fastened. Make sure our 3 passengers are good to go. They've got their bottle of water and their peanuts. We're going to go flaps to 1. Let's see. Dapper Corleone. Yes, that's FSEconomy in the corner. One of the things that could work well next time in regards to smoothness of VR. And one set of settings could work well. Okay, cool. I was like, I'm trying to figure out what the hell is he talking about. All right, let's get on the road here. So remember, in VR, plane command is your friend. All right, here we go. Looking for about 65. Nice smooth movement. Very nice. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Now we're going to be a little bit heavy. Well, took off nicely. All right, cool. Almost like we didn't have those people in it. Looking for 84. And flaps up. Looking for 500 for the caps. Nice to have the parachute. All right, 500. Coming there. Caps is in play. That's every once in a while. I look up and I feel like I can grab the caps. That's weird, isn't it? Autopilot on.
Autopilot on.
All right. Let the computer do the work now. Should bring us up to 3,000. Get us set up very nicely here. We're going to climb at 400 feet per minute, and it should be good to go. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. I forgot to do the transponder, even though we don't really need it. I like to do it. Transponder, altimeter, altitude, sorry. Oh, and the last thing, the yaw damper. Highly recommend, if you don't have one, get something to hold your touch controller. So you got this little gray thing here. My brother-in-law actually 3D printed this for me. Put your touch controller right in there. If you could see that, boom, perfectly like that. Just look at this little peephole. There's a little peephole in the Rift that you can kind of look through and you can see stuff. Use that a lot. All right. Beautiful. Let's check outside here, some of the views here. My favorite view, the ride along. Pretty cool. That looks so good in VR. Oh my God, it looks awesome. Underneath there, I was mentioning before, you see that little antenna on the bottom? In flying side, I never even saw that antenna because it's so fine. It was so, I guess flying side was so pixelated that you couldn't pick that up. You can pick that up in the native VR for sure. There's actually another small antenna on there as well. I wonder if I could zoom in. I don't think I could zoom in. No, I can't. But check out another view here. It's the chase view. And we'll just get ourselves back in the cockpit here. Beautiful. All right, so up in the air, and oh, what I was going to talk about is the MFD. So here's something I discovered. So if I take the touch controller, let me just go over here, and I touch on a certain part of the MFD. Let me just move it closer to me here so I don't keep. So I touch on this certain part of the MFD. See how it turns green, and then I hit the trigger. back up here. Hold on. Do that again. I'll hit the trigger, and boom, it pops out. Okay? Hit it again, it pops in. That works on the PFD too. Okay, so you can pop them out and pop them in. Okay? What you were talking about before, so let me get back here now. So I can grab this, okay, see how it turns green? And I can move it around a little bit. I don't have like complete control, but I can move it around a little bit. All right, so I could want to put it right there. You could see how small these numbers are in the letters. It's very difficult to do stuff. I mean, you can do it. Like I can go here and hit flight plan, okay? And I can do, let's see, where's my cursor? Oh, hold on. Here's a cursor. So the cursor is flashing now, and I think I can grab the inner circle and move it around like that. So it does work. But you have to have very diligent, you have to have very, very fine movements to make it work. I'd say it's easier to pop it out and do it than to lean forward into the MFD and try to do it. But yeah, so I would say that's how you do it if you want to do it. So let me get this. Oh, I just got my pop it back in there. I just actually discovered that today by chance. I just like, well, why is this turning green? I hit the trigger and I was like, boom. That's a nice feature. I mean, if you want to pull this one up, right there in front of you, very easy to read. I mean, everything's pretty easy to read anyway from a distance, but if you really want to pull it up and you want to mess around here, you can do that, right? If I want to put my inset up here, okay, you do that. And then just if I want to move it out of the way, and then I go over here, boom, now it's back in there. Those blue lines that you see coming up there, that's my Oculus Play area. It's just because I have it adjusted so like if my hand goes over the desk, the play area is coming up. And that's like, it's a warning system because you have the headset on. It's telling you you're getting outside your play area so you don't smash the touch controllers into something, or if you move, you don't smash into something. You can define the area of where you're allowed to quote-unquote play, right? And that's what that is. So, in any event. Oh, what about loading the FMS?
We have clearance.
Let me show you how to do that.
Roger, roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Luke in the house. Thanks for the follow, man. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Blazing Monk, let me show you how to do that. So basically what you do is you click on, there's a little like SD card thing right there. Okay. You see that? Turns green. You click on that. And now what that's going to do is going to take you to the X-Plane screen that you see here. Okay, that'll pop up on your desktop. And then you would just enter the plan as you would normally. Okay? Just select the plan you want and you hit Open FMS. Now I'm going to hit Cancel so I don't screw anything up here. Lost my cursor. Whoa! KJ011 is hosting 20 viewers. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. All right, we're back in VR now. So that's how you do that, Blazing. Thanks for that host, man. I do appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, that's there's a little, little tricks here and there you got to figure out, and this plane, this is the vFlyteAir SR200, obviously. It's not designed for VR yet. It's probably about 90% of the way there. Everything pretty much works. All the dials, all the gauge, everything works except you can't grab the yoke, okay? Which, if you want to, I mean, you could even turn the air conditioner on if you want to. But everything else works. The only thing that doesn't work is you can't teleport from inside. You have to put your hand outside the plane to teleport. That's another thing I learned. But for the most part, you can control everything in the plane except the yoke. So if you want to fly with a touch controller by yoke, which actually would be pretty cool because you could use 2 touch controllers and you could fly the left yoke with one. And, this is probably a plane that would really adapt well to touch controllers. So hopefully when vFlyteAir provides that capability, we'll test that out. Because you think about it, you could have this, you could have your left hand over here controlling this yoke like that. You could have your right hand over here with this touch controller doing everything in the cockpit, and it would really kind of lend itself to it, In any event, everything pretty much works except that. All right, so that's why I'm actually very happy, because like I said, this is like probably my favorite GA plane. All right, cool. Let's see what we got here. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, gotta go fix the stream source. I have to fix the stream source? What's the matter? It's not. Oh, sorry. Gotta get rid of the X-plane window. My bad. So the one thing I wanted to talk about, which was huge today, was the announcement by HTC, which was, let me pull that up here.
Flight 209er clear for vector 324.
KJ0111, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you for the host too. I appreciate that. Awesome. All right, so the big news of the day, it's for VR followers at CES, is HTC has basically announced the Vive Pro. The Vive Pro is a upscale version of the HTC Vive. It's a HMD replacement. The key things are resolution. Now we're talking about 2880 over 1600, which is, they're saying a 78% increase. I'm not sure they have I figured it to be a 44% increase, but it's currently 2180 by 1200. So I guess it's the way you do the math. The way I did the math was I multiplied 2180 by 1200, I got a number. And I multiplied 2880 by 1600, I got a number. And I took the difference between the two, right? The difference between the two was about 64%. Sorry, 44%. They're saying it's an 80% increase. Okay, that's probably like a marketing way to do it. It's 44% more pixels, let's put it that way, all right? Which is still a considerable amount of increase. They haven't announced a price yet. They haven't announced availability yet. The rumors are summer. Also, it's going to have the upgraded audio head strap, which gives you the 3D spatial sound, similar to the audio that Rift has already. So it brings them up to kind of Rift's built-in audio capability. Maybe it's a little bit better. We'll find out once it comes out. The good news is it operates with existing lighthouse stations for Vive, the base stations, and the same Vive controllers. A lot of people were hoping there was going to be a announcement that Vive was going to come out with the new knuckle controllers they've been rumored to come out with. That's not what they talked about. They may talk about that in a day or two, who knows, but it's not part of this. The other thing is they're going to have their own wireless capability. Let me see if I have a picture of that. This thing right here. So that's going to be, I guess, mounted on the front of the unit. I'm not sure how it mounts. And it'll basically take care of that, take the place of the TPC. The TPC? I forget, whatever the name of that company is that does the wireless system. Now Vive's going to have their own. All right, so it's going to have the truly wireless, which is a big thing. That's a big thing. So there's, if you check on YouTube, there's a bunch of videos about it, and really not a lot of detailed information. Okay, I didn't see any difference in the field of view or anything like that, so that's pretty much the same. But you think about it, 44% more pixels, that'll make a difference in X-plane. That's for sure. It'll make a difference in DCS. It'll make a difference in any flight sim. That's a considerable amount. So if you're a Vive system owner, you'll have to have this to look forward to if you choose to upgrade sometime in the summertime. Depending, at least that's the rumor of when it's going to come out. But I guess we shall see. Some people are a little bit concerned about it because they just bought a Vive for Christmas, right? And now they have another one that's going to come out, potentially 6 months later, depending on the date is. But that's part of life, you invest in, I remember I bought a 1070 before, 3 or 4 months before the 1080 Ti was announced, and I was like, well, I really probably should get that. You know, so it's everybody gets kind of caught in this technological murkiness, if you will, because there's always something amazing coming out around the corner. So it's kind of like, you know, what do you do? In any event, they are truly raising the bar here for, and they're saying premium VR, and I guess what they're trying to say is like they're separating themselves from like the Pimaxes of the world and the Samsungs of the world, because I guess they feel they've got the market share, as I guess does Oculus. So and also they've got the library. Steam VR library is massive. They probably have the largest library of any set device. So in any event, it's a pretty cool announcement for them. Now the question is, what's you know, what is Oculus going to do? You know, what is Oculus going to do? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with them. I mean, they're, you know, I know Mark Zuckerberg doesn't like to be on the losing end of any technology game. You know, so I think we're probably bound to see something coming from them. You know, they're talking about this Santa Cruz thing, which is a wireless system. Okay, that's great, but I think resolution is probably, if I had to choose between wireless and resolution, I would choose resolution, 100%. Anything that would eliminate screen door effect, and anything that would eliminate, you know, give you better density of graphics, you're probably going to choose that. Where am I flying? I'm flying in Hawaii. Cyrix, how you doing? Thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate it. We're flying in Hawaii. I can show you real quickly the flight plan. We're right about here right now. Okay, we're flying all through these islands. We're going to end up on Oahu at Honolulu. Got a FSEconomy deal going on here with 3 passengers, including 2 bikini models, and we're making our way to Oahu. So that's pretty cool. I wish I was really in Hawaii. That would be awesome. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with Oculus. I mean, they have to be working on an upgraded system. Now, I can't place my finger on it, but I remember reading somewhere that they said, Zuckerberg said, or Oculus said, that there would be no major announcements for VR this year, aside from Oculus Go, which is our next big thing. But you've got to believe that this is going to ruffle some feathers in the Oculus offices, right? Because, you know, maybe that's the reason why they've lowered their price so much. They're trying to get rid of, you know, stock, or they're trying to make the most of this technology because they're going to make another announcement. Who knows? I certainly would like to see them make an announcement and up the resolution. Would be great, you know. But we shall see. The VR wars are just heating up. I think NVIDIA made a prediction at CES. The CEO, forget his name, always wears the leather jacket. He said that he believes that by 2021, okay, which is only 3 years away, that there'll be 50 million VR headsets out there. Now, he didn't stipulate whether those were which kind, because you got to remember, PSVR, PlayStation VR, we've got 70 million PlayStations out there, so, you know, and that's the number one, right now that's the number one headset, market headset, because it's, you know, it's only like, what, $300 or $350 or something like that, and if you've got the PlayStation, boom, you're ready to go. Now, it's not the greatest experience, and it is only PlayStation, although there are some packs that allow you to use it with a PC, but, he's saying 50 million units by 2021. To me, 50 million units, that makes it a commodity product. And when you get to that point, you're talking commodity. At that point, you know, the person that's waiting around. Oh, is it? Sorry about that. Let me lower that. Oh, I guess it's a little louder. Let me go back to the cockpit. Is that better? Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you, Fergus, Rift Flyer. In any event, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And then you got Pimax, the AK Pimax. There was a little bit of a debate today on VR Aviators Group. Pimax, Chinese company, they came out with the Pimax 4K about a year ago. Aki, how you doing, man? Thanks for checking out the stream. Appreciate it. FPS check. FPS seems to be pretty good. Right now, though, which is really weird, okay? I'm getting 32 frames per second, or sorry, 22 frames per second if I look at the screen, but everything is absolutely smooth. So don't ask me why. I don't care, because it's working and everything's looking great. There's no judder when I move around, so whatever. But in any event, that's the frame rate check. So yeah, so Pimax, I'm not a big fan of Pimax, the company, because I think that they're kind of a little bit misleading. The 4K came out, and what they did was basically two 2K displays, so they call it a 4K, even though that's not really true. You can't add it's 2K per eye. You can't add them together and say it's a 4K HMD, right? It's like you can't. They're saying they have the AK HMD. Well, it's two 4K displays. You can't say 4K and 4K is 8K, therefore it's an 8K headset. That's not how you do it, right? So in any event, it's really a 4K display, okay? Because each eye has 4K. But in any event, you know, they've had their Kickstarter, and that's, you know, the main thing about that is I think it's got a 200-degree field of view or something like that. If you're interested in checking that out, Linus Tech Tips has a review on it. Just search it on YouTube. Pimax 8K, something like that, under Linus, you'll find it. He's got a great review of reviewing the prototype. So those guys are really kind of pushing the bar even higher to get the resolutions to 8K, which, you know, in VR and flight sim 8K, you know, all your prayers are going to be answered. Now, your prayers are going to be answered, but you're going to need a ridiculously monstrous computer to run that thing, because remember, you got two 4K displays, right? Two 4K displays. Now, a 1080 Ti can just about handle 4K, right? 1080 Ti can just about handle 4K. So if you throw a Pimax 8K that has two 4K displays, they even say on their Kickstarter that you may need two 1080 Ti's and SLI, or the next generation NVIDIA card to run it. They're not sure yet, right? So that's kind of the risk you're kind of taking when you look at the Pimax 8K. For me, I would rather wait and see what happens with it, especially now since, you know, they have the 4.2 million in Kickstart money, but then after that, a couple months after that, they got 15 million in VC money. So now they've got a good chunk of change to develop their technology. Let's see what they do. Let's see what they come out with. And maybe it'll be cool. We shall see, you know, but I think you've got to, for me, I'd rather let them use their money to develop it and see how it goes. If the Pimax 4K is as a precursor, I wouldn't be too excited, because the 4K wasn't that great of a device. It's really a 2K, but they want to pull it a 4K. But anyway, the good news is there's some great things happening in the world of VR headsets, and I think we're going to see more and more of that. Cyrix, hey, thanks for the follow, man. I really do appreciate the follow. Thank you. So anyway, so let's see here. If you guys have any questions about VR, let me know. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. I've been doing this for quite some time, and learned a lot over the last, I guess, probably about almost 2 years. It's probably 2 years that I've been involved with VR. So in VR terms, that's a long time, right? So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you. One of the biggest misconceptions about VR, and actually this Christmas season, I had a lot of people come up to me and say, "Oh, I got VR for Christmas," and I was like, "Okay, well, what did you get?" You know, and they said, "Well, I got this thing that it's called a Zeiss that I can put my iPhone in, and I'm in VR." I said, "Oh, well, that's great." I said, "You know, but that's not really VR." "Oh, well, they said it's VR." "Yeah, but it's not. It's not really VR. I mean, it's 3D viewing, okay, but it's limited. It's very limited, and it's more limited to like 360 video and all that stuff. It's sort of like, you could call it like play VR, you know? Play VR versus real VR. Real VR is like, you know, Rift, Vive, Pimax, Samsung Odyssey, you know, Microsoft mixed reality, Lenovo, however you pronounced it. All those ones that are PC based. Right now, real virtual reality is PC based. Okay, your phone doesn't have the power to really produce VR. It just doesn't. You know? So it's sort of like play VR versus real VR. You know, how much super sampling do I use for X-Plane? All right, so I'll talk about my setup. So I use, I have a video on this on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. It's called Get 45 frames per second at high settings. I'm using 1.8 super sampling, so 180%. I'm using the Oculus Tray tool to do that. You can use the Oculus Debug tool to do that. I have ASW on auto, okay, and let's see, what else? I think those are probably the key things. Check that video, and then I'll show you some of the other tricks that we do to kind of like optimize performance, you know. But like I said, it's really magic, because right now I'm flying, and I'll show you. I mean, I'm flying stutter free, okay. And if I pull up, that's the wrong window. If I pull up the X-Plane window, let me show you. You look in the up here, you can see it's 22 frames per second, okay, up in the upper left-hand corner there. Now that is basically, has been verboten when flying in X-Plane VR. You've had to have 45 frames per second. I don't know why. I can't, and this has happened to me before. I cannot explain to you why, right now, I'm flying judder-free. I have no explanation. But as I turn my head, you can see there's absolutely no judder right now. That reflection off the water from the sun looks incredible. Looks just incredible, wow. Pretty real. Anyway, yeah, so there's a little bit of magic happening with VR. Well, you know, there's a lot of ways people can configure it. There's, you know, if you go on the VR Aviators group, there's been a ton of different ways that people have tried to optimize things. And I think, you know, if I was Laminar, I would be, yeah, HDR is off, yeah, HDR is off. If I was Laminar, I'd be monitoring all this stuff and seeing what people are doing. You know, the really nice thing would be if this was all plug and play, that we didn't have to, like, you know, tweak and test and tweak and test and tweak. I can't tell you how many hours I myself have tweaked. I know Fergus, who's, there he is right there, okay. It's happened to me a few times too. It drops to 22.5. That's a magic number. So Fergus, I wonder if you could somehow nail it to 22.5, if you would always have a clean, yeah, it's half, exactly, it's half of 45. So I'm wondering if you could nail the frame rate to 22.5 at all times, if you could have a judder-free. See, these are the kinds of things that you figure out, you know. And what I was about to say was that it would be really nice if this was all plug and play, because I think one of the biggest problems for Laminar to get people involved in VR is the complexity right now. It's pretty easy to buy a Rift and set it up. It's pretty easy to buy a Vive and set it up, okay, or some of the other headsets. Some are more complicated than others. But I tell you, to get X-Plane 11 VR working, you need help. If you don't know about VR, even, I mean, there are things that even I need help with, right? And people on the VR Aviators group were helpful, and I learned things, and they learned things, and etc. It's not a plug-and-play experience, and it really should be. If you want it to be, if you want it to explode, you got to make it easy for the common person to implement. It's got to be so easy that they just press a couple of buttons, and it figures out what kind of GPU you have. It figures out what kind of CPU you have, and boom, it gives you a setup. And I know that's asking a lot because there's a lot of things involved here, but I think for things to blossom, they have to be easy. They have to be simple. They have to be plug and play. That's how things explode. When anybody can just pick it up and use it within, 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that's when you know you're going to have a winner. When someone has to spend days and days, I mean, I think probably between all the people on VR Aviators group that have, put an input on X-Plane 11 VR, I mean, you're probably talking, I'm guessing here, but I would say there's probably maybe 500 man-hours of time to figure all this stuff out. That's a lot of time, and it's man-hours, right? That's a lot of time, and I understand it's the preview beta and all that, and flying side was no easier. There was a lot of tweaks and stuff with flying side, and some of the things worked, and some of them didn't. But again, for the average person to use because I've seen people. No, I'm not using that, dude. I'm not using that. My results with that script were not great, and I haven't had the chance to go back to try 3J FPS. I was going to try it over the weekend, but I got hung up upgrading my laptop, and I had some issues with that, so I never got to doing it. But think about if you follow Facebook or you follow Reddit. I mean, I watch it pretty closely. There's been dozens of people that have just given up on X-Plane VR because they couldn't get it to work. And that's, okay, maybe it's beta and all that, and I get that. But if you want people to dive in, you got to make it easy. And hopefully that'll happen. Now, I know X-Plane, we all love X-Plane, people that fly it. If you're watching this, you're probably an X-Plane fan. And we can't, one of the things I think that attracts us to X-Plane is that tinkering, the ability to tinker, the ability to kind of like create your own lab and come up with ideas and, figure something new out and share it with the community so that we're all, we can all benefit from your work, which is kind of a cool thing about it. It's like it's a lab project. It's, it's kind of like, listen, we're into X-Plane, we all have a little bit of nerd in us, and I think that brings out your inner nerd, that thing, right? But by the same token, from a marketing perspective, I think you need to have it kind of both ways. And X-Plane 11 has started to do that with the simpler menus and all that, so it is simpler than X-Plane 10 was. But I think VR has to get really. The mystery of VR has to be taken out. It's got to be plug and play. And like I said, Vive has done a good job of that. Rift has done a good job of that. I mean, literally take you minutes to set up your Rift. Take you minutes to set up your Vive. It takes you longer to plug in all the cables than it does to actually set the software up. So take a lesson from that, and hopefully we'll start to see that in X-Plane VR to make it simple for people. Anyway, that's my soapbox. Alrighty. Yeah, so I'm going to try that script. The script that RiftFly is referring to, the 3J FPS, is actually an older script that was developed for X-Plane 10, at least my research shows me. And what it basically does, it allows you to, on the fly, set it for a desired frame rate, X-Plane, and X-Plane will basically change the way graphics, the way things are configured, so that it gets you to that optimal frame rate. And you can set a range, or you can set an exact frame rate. What we do is set it for 45. But what I'm thinking is, Fergus, is if you set it for 22.5, which, as Dapper Corleone points out, is half of 45. If that's a magic number. Because if that's a magic number, there's no reason. I mean, you should be able to hit 22.5 all the time, right? If it's a magic number and that works, maybe we stumbled upon something here. I don't know. Let's check this again here. Yeah, it's 21, 22, 23. It's ranging between. It's probably averaging 22.5. Odd. I mean, what do you think about that, Fergus? Be interesting to know what you think. Like I said, this is judder free, man. Let me do this. I'm gonna go flight config. We'll go here. I'm gonna turn down the external. Oh, exterior is pretty far down. Yeah, super smooth, man. Super smooth. Looks so cool in VR, man. $22.5, wow. Thought it may be causing the 22. You had no luck with it either. Yeah, I didn't either, but I'm thinking like maybe we try to use this script to nail 22.5 all the time. I don't know. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Just seems odd. Anybody watch the Carolina Saints game? Man, I really wanted Carolina to win. Close game towards the end. They just could not pull it out. A couple of missed opportunities here and there. I really would have wanted to see them in the playoffs. Because, I mean, Cam Newton's a dynamic quarterback. I mean, Drew Brees is good too, but, you know, I would have liked to have seen Carolina in it. I guess, you know, New Orleans would be fun to watch too. Are we going over? Oh, wait a second. Uh-oh. Why did I lose my GPS thing here? Am I okay? Nope. Look at that. I'm off course. Okay, well that's not good. Alright, was a pilot error. I lost my... Oh, I know what happened. You know what happened? Maybe... Let me just do this. Let me think about this for a second. I know what happened. Let me do this. I'm gonna pause. I think what happened when I was showing you guys the plane, I canceled the flight. Okay, let me just go back in here now. My flight plan is in there. My flight plan is in there, but there's no line on the MFD. I don't understand it. This has happened to me before with this plane. Autopilot on.
Autopilot on.
Yeah, it can't find, see, it can't find, you know, it can't find it. You look at the upper left, how far off course I am. Or I'm going to have to hand fly this thing. Alright, whatever. This has happened to me before with the vFlyteAir. This has happened to me before. And we get to check out some cool views. Look at those lava flows, man. They're awesome in VR. Holy crap. Holy crap. That looks so cool. I think I'm going to make it a little bit brighter here. Let me just see here. Make it a little brighter so you guys... Look at that. Isn't that cool? We'll find Honolulu. I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I mean, this has happened to me before where the GPS, everything's humming along, and then all of a sudden, vFlyteAir's GPS misses a waypoint, and then you're, like, off course. I've been meaning to tell those guys about it, but just haven't gotten around to it. That's okay. We'll just hand fly it. Look how smooth that is. 22.5 frames per second. That's exactly how you want it. Absolutely. I mean, you guys can't... I can't explain to you. You can't see it because you're looking at 2D, but you feel like you're in a real plane going past these lava flows. You look out that right wing, and it looks amazing. As we overspeed the plane. I guess I can do a heading. Let's just do that. Let's set our heading. And let's clear the flight director. And we'll do autopilot on. We'll do heading and where's our altitude? Altitude hold. Set altitude to 2,000.
Altitude 22,000 feet.
Altitude 2,000.
Altitude 2,000 feet.
I always forget that. So let's do vertical speed. And we'll go up. Oh, go up 300. 2,000. And we'll just use the heading as we fly way off course. Pretty cool turn, that heading bug. Yeah, so I was saying vFlyteAir's got a little bit of a problem with their GPS. That's okay. We can figure it out. That's why it's nice to have ForeFlight. I'm just using the touch controller, grabbing the outer heading bug there. And you can see as I turn my wrist, the heading bug turns, which is what it would be like in real life. Let's see. Great info as not knowing anything about VR. Gotcha. Well, Taylor, listen. On my YouTube channel, I know this is a shameless plug, but my YouTube channel is Bambino Games. Go on there, and there's a video that I have. It's the main video. It's the first video you'll see when you go to the home page of YouTube. But just search it up. It's the virtual reality flight simulation guide, okay? And that'll help you with some basic stuff about VR. And then if you're interested in learning about VR and you're on Facebook, join the VR Aviators group on Facebook, and you could just lurk. And there's a lot of discussion about VR and stuff, a lot of finer points. As I switch my tanks, I'm at the I'm at like an eighth a tank in the left tank there. It's one of the issues with this plane. You don't have that both tanks. Anyway, check out. It's called the Virtual Reality Flight Simulation Guide, and in there I go over the basics, and hopefully that'll help you a little bit. And it's really not that complicated. I mean, like I said, if you wanted to get a Rift or a Vive, the main thing is you want to make sure your PC is robust enough to handle it. The worst thing you want to do is have a PC that doesn't have the power to handle VR. Let's see. PHO is a 281, so let's go to 281. And that should get us there. I'm looking at the flight plan. It's telling me 281 for Honolulu, 33 miles. So we'll just cut the corner and figure it out when we get there. So yeah, it really isn't that complicated. Well, I mean, it's a complicated technology, but it's not complicated to get into it. If you bought a Rift, you know, and if you got a PC that's strong enough to support it, you should be fine. And when I say strong enough to support it, you really want to have like an i7 quad core CPU. I would recommend anything like a 6700 or higher. I have a 6700 and I feel like I want to upgrade, but a 6700 or higher should be fine. As far as a GPU, I don't think you want to go anywhere below like a 1070. I would recommend a 1080, or if you can afford it, a 1080 Ti. And the reason why, even though I know a 1080 Ti is $700 and some odd, you're putting yourself in, if you wanted to do it now, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be, at least have a year's worth of use out of the power of that card. Because as applications become more complex, as VR gets more denser screens, we're going to need more and more powerful GPUs. If you bought a 1060 today, in 6 months you'll probably be selling it on eBay and buying a new thing, because if you bought it for VR, because you want to be able to experience things without judder, without stuttering, and to do that you need a powerful GPU. Even though when you go on the Oculus Rift webpage or the Vive webpage, they have the minimum specs that you can use VR in, or the recommended specs. The recommended specs are really the minimum specs, okay? The minimum specs I wouldn't even consider. You're just going to be aggravated. You want to be able to put the thing on and feel like you're in real life, and to do that, I really think you need like a 1070 or above. So you want to have at least 16 gig of RAM. I've got 32. If you can do 32, the more RAM the better. Even if you have excess, the more RAM the better. And yeah, so you want to just make sure you've got a ample PC. And then after that, it's pretty simple. You buy the Rift, you plug it in, you set it up, it tells you how to do it. It's easy. Really not that hard. It's harder to get your GPS to work properly. I'm so happy I upgraded to 4. I was using Flight Plan Go. Look, there's my GPS again. The line mysteriously appeared on the MFD, and that's happened before. That's happened before. What happens is it misses a waypoint, and then so like one of the waypoints was missing. So the plane went off course because it didn't have the waypoint to turn on. And it tends to happen if you've got like more than 3 waypoints, So I have to report that to the vFlyteAir guys. You're in a good position. Cool. Well, you got a Taylor. You got a 114E. It's a nice guitar. What color is it? Is it spruce, or did you get a Koa one, or? I could talk guitar. I love guitar. I've been playing guitar for a long, long time. I used to actually have a Twitch channel where I used to play guitar. It's called Primal Blues. And I used to basically jam blues tunes to backing tracks for people. It was interesting. I just stopped doing it, but yeah.
Destination ATIS is 127.9.
I love playing guitar. All right, hopefully we'll find Honolulu. Now, the one nice thing I like about the difference, this is a nice G1000. Don't get me wrong. It does everything you need in an SR20. It's really kind of customized for the SR20. The only thing that's different is it doesn't have the same display information about the airports that you have on the Laminar's G1000. The Laminar's G1000, you could zoom in and see a diagram of the airport. It's not an airport chart, but it shows you the runways, it shows you the taxiways, and it gives you a good idea of the way the airports, the runways are lined up. So it makes it easy if you want, for you to approach VFR. This doesn't do that. It just shows you a blue dot that says here's the airport. So you have to kind of like figure things out ahead of time. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I should be fine here. It's spruce. All right, that's cool. Maybe I'll grab my guitar. You guys probably won't be able to hear it, but I'll grab my guitar on the next trip. Let's check those frame rates for, I guess I think we're still at 22. 23, 22, 23, 22, 23, 22. Wow. Interesting. I'm wondering if that's a magic number. I mean, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's doing quad reprojection, right? It's got to be, it has something to do with that, because why else would it be so smooth, right? If you're running at 30, you're juddery. But 22 and a half, 23, you're okay. Weird. All right, let's see if we can zoom in here. You think it's a bug, and I actually have 45. Well, if I was running Afterburner, I could tell you that. I'm not running Afterburner, so I can't tell you that. And I don't want to fire up Afterburner now at the risk of destroying my my stream here. You think it's a bug? Might be. All right, let's zoom in. There's my airport. I think there's two airports here. One is the Air Force Base, which is right there. And the other one is the airport, which is over there. So that's where I'm going. You think it's a bug? Oh, interesting. Well, that means you mean the frame rate data output is incorrect on X-Plane? Is that what you think? It looks pretty damn smooth. All All right, we got 8 miles. Let's start to slow down here a little bit. All right, tell you what, why don't we do this? Let me go to my airport. Why doesn't that come up? All right, so I want to land at 22. 22 left or 22 right, right? No, 26. 26. Set heading bug to 260.
Pitot heat already
No,
on.
that's not what I want. All right, let me get autopilot off. Set heading 260.
Heading 260 degrees.
All right, let's do this. Let's do it the right way so I know where my runway is. That first notch of flaps. Fergus thinks it's a bug. Could be. I'm wondering where the bug is.
$500.
All right, I got my runway. The one thing I've noticed lately is that Plane Command sometimes has a little problem picking up the mic. Sorry, the Oculus Rift mic has a little problem picking up my voice for Plane Command, which I don't understand because it seems to be fine for, you know, for audio, for you know, you guys to hear my voice. Not sure. So after this, we're going to go 5,500 miles east to LaGuardia. And we're going to fly the SR200 I just bought and put over there. I bought it in Indiana for $215,000 on FSEconomy, not in real life, obviously. And I flew it today from Indiana to New York because LaGuardia was lacking an SR200. I want to fly an SR200 in that area. And it was an impulse buy, but now here we're getting some judder. Be interesting to see what the frame rates are. I can't see them because I'm trying to land the friggin' plane. It's hard to land when you get in judder. Very hard to land when you get in judder. Alright. Probably wasn't the greatest, but... Now that's awful. Probably because we have a lot of autogen here. I'm just going to turn it over here, get away from this awfulness. See, that's the thing. I mean, you can go from absolute smoothness to, am I away from, yes, to terribleness. So let's shut this. I'm just going to shut it off. Get rid of FSEconomy here because we're gonna Now I'm getting 21, 22, 21, 20. Like, I'm not getting 22.5 anymore, so I'm not so sure it's a bug. All right, that said, when it happened to me in Oculus Tool Tray, Oculus Tool was reporting 22.5. Okay. Okay, well, it's happening pretty badly now, so in any event, let's get to this guy here. So we finished our trip. Let's see how we did here. We made $13.81 for the company and a little over $1,000 for ourselves, which isn't bad. Cool. All right, so that's going to do it for this flight. Let me just want to get into X-Plane here, and we're going to go boom. Change location. We're going to go to LaGuardia. I'll just have this cranking while we're setting up the flight. So KLGA. Zoom in. I'm using the yoke button to zoom in here. I'm going to assume I'm going to go north. Okay. We'll go 22. Actually, we go here. Well, we'll just start on the runway. And I'm going to already start it up just to save a little time. We'll go a little, and we'll stay at 1 o'clock. Here we go. Start new flight. Yep. All right, good. So while that's loading up. All right, so what we're going to do here is, hey, take care, Taylor. Thanks for checking out the stream, for following the channel. I do appreciate it. All right, so let's go to log aircraft, sorry. We're going to LGA. First, let me rent this plane here. My plane. The SR20. You can see it's got only has 12 hours on it, so it's pretty new. Someone bought it in 2005, okay, and barely flew it, and I guess it was just sitting idle, and the bank sold it to me today for 215 thou. Anyway, so let's where the hell is that? Rent that. All right, so we got that. All right, Fergus, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. Hold on 1 second, guys. Well, guys, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut this short. I wanted to do another flight, but I'm not gonna be able to do that because I've got my wife just texted me. I've got to take care of something. So, in any event, at least we got the one flight in. As you can see, there's major judder behind there on the screen, so probably to fix that anyway. But let's just take a look at where we are with the group. So, go to banking. So I'm gonna put this over to there. So we've got a little over $44,000. Let's take a look at the bank statement. So we've got 113K in revenue, so 26 after expenses. So the winner of the monthly contest is going to get 20% of that. If you join the group and you fly for us, and whoever has the most earnings for the month of January is going to get 20% of the net. So that's going to be a cool thing we're going to be doing in the group. So check it out. It's called VR Aviation. Let me just show you where it is. If you look at all the groups and you scroll all the way down to the V's. TUV, look for VR, where is it? VR Aviation right there. Just hit the join button and you'll be right in the group and you can check it out. Fly for us and you'll we're gonna build this thing out. I'm looking forward to it. I'm envious of John Fly. John Fly's group is cranking. He's got all these planes and all these FBOs and a bunch of people. They're just doing great. I actually joined it. I'm going to fly for it a little bit too. So, but in any event, that's going to do it for me, guys. I really do appreciate you checking the stream out. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to Bambino Games. And I'm going to throw this host over to somebody right now, and I think I'm going to throw it over to Ground Point Niner, because he's a good dude, and he's a Pilot Edge ATC, so you can check him out and you can learn something about Pilot Edge. Just spell this right. All right, so throwing the host over to Ground Point Niner, guys. Hey, I really do appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for checking out the streams. And Blazing Monk, thanks a lot for checking out. See you. John Fly, thanks for the host. Thanks for all the follows, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.